I can't imagine Mars Incorporated without the 5 principles. I guess it would just be any other company.
Why is it important to this crazy family that owns this business? Because it's not just words to us.
They mean something to us. It's something we've grown up with. It's something we really believe in.
Living them is the way Mars does business, and that is what makes us unique.
My grandfather, in defining the 5 principles and really having them as a guiding part of his life, passed those on to his 3 children, and each of them have passed that down to their children, which is the 10 of us.
All 10 of us ended up with a real belief in what this business is and what makes it special.
They embody not just the family, but the associates that worked around my great-grandfather and my grandfather and my father and uncle and aunt.
We were always brought up with, this is our family. It's the whole entire Mars Association. It's all 40,000 associates.
There was never any decision to change the 5 principles. The 5 principles are great, and every time you go back and look at them again, you realize how great they are.
It wasn't a question of changing the principles, but it actually was a question of bringing them to life for today.
I don't think that it starts from quality to responsibility to mutuality to efficiency to freedom, and that they all go in a circle and that they're connected in that order. I think that all the little lines crisscross and they all connect to each other in different ways. I can't say that I always live the 5 principles without ever falling off the bandwagon, so to speak. I mean, that's just not reasonable, but I can't imagine not being proud of doing a quality job. I don't think one principle is more important than another principle. But if you don't have quality, none of the others are relevant.
One of the things that is important to us is the health and welfare of the pet.
Hey, gorgeous.
Cats, horses, and dogs all have, in terms of their olfactory senses and what's in their tongue, in terms of the sensors that are there, we humans are at sort of this end of the scale, and they're up at this end of the scale. So what they'll catch, we don't even, I mean, it doesn't mean anything to us because it's such a fine taste. Whereas to them, it's called, this tastes superb. And of course, I'm sitting there going, well, it's fish. No, to this one, it's fish with, I don't know, an anchovy aftertaste, a fine wine. We've done the feeding trials to prove that. Research that happens here goes to the R&D people, so they look at it and they go, well, we'd like to create this product, and then we find a way to create the technology to create the product. I want to be able to go and look at any of our shelves, whether it's pet or human, and say, hey, cool, this is fantastic, and I'm behind this product 100%.
When I go into a grocery store, that's my name that sits on that package. I don't ever want somebody to look at that and not buy it because it's not meeting any of the 5 principles, you know? I think for associates, to them that's their product too. And so I think they're just as attached to it because it's a reflection of yourself.
Which girl ate the M&M's chocolate candies? Not this one. What a chocolate mess. This one did, see? No chocolate mess.
M&M's milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
We lived in Holland when I was a little girl. I knew that my father ran a candy factory and that he happened to be the boss of the candy factory, but we were expected to buy our candy, our pet food, whatever it is, we buy them in the store just like everybody else, and Dad made that pretty clear that, you know, you don't get anything for free. We would have to go to the factory on Saturday mornings and help my mother plant flowers in the entranceway, the walkway to the factory. But if you think back, it all had to do with mutuality. You know, we got something from that business and we had to give back to it. Everybody had to play on the team. It was a family affair. It meant something.
I think all of us would have inherited from our parents a very acute sense of fairness, of which mutuality is kind of, again, sort of, you know, that's one of its core elements, along with, you know, respect and trust and honesty.
This one. Dad and Uncle John and my grandfather were very specific about, you know, you start at the bottom like everybody else. Actually, my first summer jobs were packing candy in Hackettstown. I don't think I expected anything else. I mean, I expected to start at the bottom.
I think that a lot of it comes from just people being in the business, you know, and seeing that, okay, gosh, you know, a family member does come in and they are working just as hard as me, and they're punching the time clock just like me, and their desk is just like me, and you know, they don't get a special parking place.
And obviously we grew up having opportunities, but you don't take advantage of it. And I think that's the key of being a family business and living our own principles.
What are you doing? You're gonna get all dirty. I remember once I was 13 years old and I didn't do something that my father was very proud of. And my father never yelled at me in that sense. I think for him, he felt that he had trusted me and they had trusted me to take a certain sense of responsibility and to know that if they went away on a business trip, that I would uphold those. And the sense of disappointment of knowing that I had to regain his trust because I had basically gone against those values had a huge impact on me as a child. Bye-bye.
I actually went to work with my grandfather in Las Vegas. He lived above the factory, it's true. He was only intimidated by one person in life, and that was his wife. It was a good 3 years. Other than the few times he fired me, basically over points of principle. The first time he fired me, in the old days, we have a tour through the factory. And at the end of the tour, we'd offer a sample to eat and hope people would buy it. So I said, well, let's build a new entryway. And in the entryway, put the bathrooms out there, since people are coming and they've just gotten off the buses. He could not fathom the concept of spending money to move bathrooms. So I just did it anyway. He got very annoyed at me, fired me. I was very angry at him because I thought I was doing the right thing. So he called me to come over, and you fired me on Friday. Whack, hung up the phone up. So this went on for about 15 minutes. Him calling me, hanging him up. Before he died, he said that was one of the best decisions that we had made there.
That's what the responsibility principle is all about. It's about taking personal responsibility for yourself and for the people around you, instead of watching something happen and not doing anything about it.
We were brought up with a set of expectations and standards set by our parents and rebelled against, just like every other teenager, and then moved on. And I think that, like other people, the way that we run our households and our families and manage our lives are probably reflected by the way that we were brought up. Nothing unusual than any other family.
There are principles that really guide both the corporation on the inside as well as the lives of the family and associates on the outside.
This is a 10-year plan.
To me, the 5 principles are business principles. It's one of those things that in my business life, I apply it. My work life is a big part of my life. It's important to me. I don't think I'm a very different person at home. Take the efficiency principle. It is about doing what you do well and doing it efficiently.
You know, my grandfather, when I had gone to him before for guidance, you know, it really was always coming out of the basis of these principles. Even, you know, with efficiency, when I had talked to him about going back to business school to get my MBA and had asked him what he thought and if I should go. And he said, time is an important part of your life, and if you are going to take the time out of your life, in a sense not being efficient for a year and a half, you need to come out of that school knowing something that you didn't know when you went in. And if you're not going to know something that you didn't know when you went in and you couldn't learn somewhere else, don't go, because it's not an efficient and effective use of your time. He really had that view on anything, you know, and he really embodied those principles at all times.
I had always, very much like my grandfather, wanted my own business. The principle of freedom does relate to my store. It really allows me the freedom to do what I think is necessary for this business to thrive and succeed. I am in charge of my own destiny.
Well, being a private business does give you freedoms to do things with the company that a public business can't do. You know, that's the freedom principle at work. Every company strives for innovation, and we beat ourselves up about innovation, but I think we actually have a pretty good track record. That's a commitment that we need to try and somehow keep alive, because it's very easy to just nurture the core and not try new things.
If you allow someone and give them the opportunity to flourish, you know, obviously mistakes will be made, but a lot of good can come out of it.
With that, you know, breakfast, maple's a popular flavor with cereals right now. We're trying to make it a little bit more wholesome so that, you know, people might be able to enjoy it for breakfast in the morning.
Great. It's a good product.
I think that's part of what makes Mars different, is that people can look over a much longer time horizon and see things that start today and see where they might be in 10 or 15 years. There is the opportunity of private ownership to think and act like a small company with the freedom that a large, profitable company brings to that equation. You know, if we can unleash that, you know, that's magical.
5 principles are about how we do business, the way we work. And, you know, I try and work and live by those principles.
This is the way you do business. Stick to it. Be consistent about it. Apply it consistently. Model it. Walk the talk.
If you use the principles and challenge your problem by using the principle, you'll often come out with the right outcome. It's our responsibility to look at every decision we make and everything we do in a way by incorporating all the 5 principles together.
I look at it as like in my children looking at like sportsmanship. It's respecting each other. It's not getting out there and playing dirty. And I think if we had more of that, we probably might have a better, nicer world sometimes.